Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. I understand this topic has been addressed, so I wanted to make a quick statement of my vigorous support for the Economic Development Administration, the EDA funds that have come to West Virginia, particularly in this administration, have been exceedingly helpful, have expanded our abilities to expand our infrastructure and create jobs, and particularly in rural areas where it's very difficult to raise capital. We had Dr. John Fleming just recently in Putnam County, and he announced several millions of dollars of investment in our state that we now see expanding into that job creation. So I just wanted to get that on the record with you. My question is totally different. It's on the topic of importing aluminum. We have large.
I'm sorry, on the topic of
importing aluminum.
Ah.
We have a large aluminum producing that uses aluminum and produces products from that. There was a trade remedy in 2019 which helped with the trade imbalance with China, but we're seeing that aluminum flat rolled products, actually the import is up. In your budget, you have recommended an aluminum import monitoring program within the ITA. And I was wondering, with this new program, how will the department be able to monitor the aluminum imports to spot the bad actors and identify problem areas?
Shelley, well, a couple of things. We earlier initiated a steel monitoring activity that has proven very, very helpful to the steel industry, because what it essentially allows is earlier identification of problems so that we can try to get after them. I believe the aluminum monitoring will accomplish very much the same purpose. Second, earlier this year, the President accepted my recommendation about prohibitions on derivative products, namely products both steel and aluminum that really are circumvention of our basic tariff structure, in that all they do is add a minor feature to what's essentially flat-rolled sheet or coil or some other product, and then since that technically puts it as a new HTS, then they bring it in. Right. So we have gone after several, most notably aluminum cable and wire, which had been one of the big violators, in our view, of the circumvention.
Well, thank you. I would encourage you also, and I'm sure you are as you're developing this, to work with the manufacturers who use these products, obviously, to develop the best ways to go about
the
this.
Good news is the tariffs for aluminum have increased the operating rate from 43% of capacity to 62% of capacity. It's not up to where we want it to be. We want to get it up to 80%. But at least directionally, that's a pretty big percentage increase in the utilization of the aluminum facilities.
Well, we have 2,000 workers in Jackson County in West Virginia, which are very dependent on this. My second question is, as the federal government moves towards shifting to the cloud, data to the cloud, NOAA and other components have a mission that requires a hard iron infrastructure. And so can you speak to the significance of this hardwire capability to our weather forecasting? We have a NOAA facility in West Virginia.
Well, there are myriad initiatives underway at NOAA to improve the weather forecasting. I would be delighted to set up a session for you and your staff with NOAA and myself to get into the details. It gets highly technical very, very quickly, so I think that would be the most useful way to respond to that question, Senator.
All right, I look forward to that. Last question is on the broadband map. I think many of us sitting around, we've been in various committees talking about the inaccuracies of our broadband map. The NTIA was provided $7.5 million to help us with developing served and unserved areas to make sure that this is granular data and that it's accurate. Do you have any comments on how that process is moving forward?
Yes, well, two things. One, we have made great progress in launching the map that you're referring to. We entered into a contract to secure Geographic Information System platform that will allow NTIA to take data sets from outside vendors and incorporate those into its own internal activities. That should permit NTIA to implement a secure cloud-based approach to this problem. And so we're very optimistic. Second, NTIA has entered into data sharing partnerships with 13 states: California, Maine, Massachusetts, North Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, and I'm happy to add West
Right.
Virginia.
Great, good, good. Well, I would just encourage anything we can do on that to make it more accurate. We found that if you only rely on the suppliers, you're not going to get accurate data. It's got to be an all-in kind of proposition, which I think is the direction you're moving. Thank you so much.